there are a few things that you should never talk about at work: politics, your personal life, and religion. These topics are too sensitive, too personal, and too controversial. If you search online for topics that are not suitable for work, faith is always coming in at the top of that list. Now, in our parents' and our grandparents' generations, these norms may have made sense and served a useful purpose. However, I believe that it's time to retire these norms and usher in a new paradigm where we allow people to be more authentic in the workplace and to bring their faith with them. So why does this matter? Well, it turns out that America is a pretty religious place, and a few statistics to share on that. And these are statistics from the Pew Research Forum. First, of American adults, 77% of them say that religion is either very or somewhat important to them. 69% of adults attend religious services at least once a month, and 55% pray at least on a daily basis. In addition to this, for certain populations, such as people of color and women, these numbers are even higher. And if you happen to identify as a person of faith, your faith probably plays a pretty central role in your life. It's questions about who you are and what decisions you're making where these things are really important. So suppose that you spend 2 hours a week devoted to your faith, such as attending a worship service, engaging in some type of prayer or meditation or study throughout the week. Between the ages of 18 and 40, which by the way is the average age of a successful software startup founder, you would have spent the equivalent of an entire year of work involved in these activities. It seems crazy that we tell people that they can't talk about those things at work and they can't bring that experience to bear. So in my experience, when I entered the workforce and took my first job, I subscribed to that old paradigm as well. And every time I walked into the office, my faith went in my pocket. If anyone asked me a question about what I did over the weekend, it was always something about my friends or something about my family or anything else that I did, just not my faith. That being said, I actually spend a significant portion of every weekend engaged in my faith. So then I ended up changing jobs, moved to Boston, and joined an organization with a very progressive and young culture. And in that orientation at that job, they introduced a new concept to me, which was called bring your whole self to work. So I pondered for a moment, what does that mean for me? Well, central to my identity is that I am a person of faith. And so I asked myself if maybe just maybe, I could bring that with me. And I started to wade into those waters. So if you're also considering wading into the water of bringing your faith to work with you, I have a few things that we might want to consider together. So first, ask yourself why. There's an important why for everyone, and there are some whys that are good and some whys that are not so good. On the good side, it's probably something related to who you are personally and your own sense of purpose. It's probably not related to your desire to generate a profit or to grow your professional career or to develop some sense of power, at least I hope not. Then secondly, you'll want to ask yourself what could go right and what could go wrong. And thirdly, select your approach. So diving into what could go right and what could go wrong, and this is just a starter set. First, you might increase your own motivation and your sense of personal purpose. And this is the one that we heard Professor Clayton Christensen speak frequently about. There are many religions that have a central tenet of trying to serve the people who are around you. So this can be quite powerful, especially among those people that you are managing or serving in the workplace. Secondly, you might set the stage for a needed religious accommodation, such as if there's a religious holiday that you would like to observe, but that's not recognized as a company holiday. You might inspire others to be more authentic and create a better workplace for them and facilitate better and deeper relationships. And you might also hold yourself to a higher standard of integrity. Nothing bad about that. Now, on the what could go wrong side, well, there's a lot here and you need to think through it really carefully. I've seen these all happen and it's just not what we want. So first of all, never disrespect anyone on the basis of their faith, choices, or their traditions. Secondly, never suggest that anyone else should trust you on because you happen to be a person of faith. I've seen that one go wrong, and it's not pretty. Don't ever claim moral superiority. There are many people who have outstanding moral compasses who are practicing different faiths or maybe even no faith at all. And lastly, this one's illegal. Don't ever do it. Don't give preference to other people on the basis of their faith. So once you've had the chance to think through what could go right, what could go wrong, and you think you might want to move forward, you ask the question of, well, what approach should I take? And there are lots of different approaches. It can be as simple as if someone asks you how your weekend went, maybe you mention that you attended a religious service or event, or maybe it's something that you feel a little bit more comfortable wearing some religious jewelry or putting something on your desk in a public space that's related to your faith. It could be something that's even a little more proactive, such as going out and asking other people about their faiths and seeking to learn about them. Just keep in mind that if you are also the founder of an organization, that your influence on the culture of that organization is going to be amplified. So coming back to my own personal story and my first foray into faith in the workplace, what happened? Well, I started reaching out to my peers to understand who else might be a person of faith and what that faith meant to them. And it turned out that we gathered together quite a substantial group of peers and started talking about faith, talking about what it meant to you, what kind of faith you practice. We started a tour where we went once a month around the city to each person's place of worship and allowed them to show it to us and to help us understand their traditions. It was incredibly powerful. We gained enough momentum that the organization itself started to take notice and to say, wow, this is really creating a lot of meaning for our people here, and to think more broadly about it in society. And ultimately, the organization ended up publishing a white paper coming out saying that the role of faith in society is really important and that we should allow people to be motivated by that faith and to move forward with it. It was an extremely gratifying experience for me. So in conclusion, I want to invite you, if you identify as a person of faith, to join me in this journey to bring your whole faithful self to work. Thank you, and God bless.